Hey guys, Banjo's here. Just coming back to you on this wonderful Sunday morning. It's 10:21 where I'm at in the AM. It's doing pretty good day, pretty good day. Exciting, sunny California, Southern California. If you hear any background talking, that's most likely my parents. I have no idea why, but no matter how far away I move from here, you- they just seem to talk louder and louder. I shouldn't be complaining. I've had great parents. I gotta admit that. Uh, Everything's going pretty good on my end. I hope you guys are doing fine. And please feel free to leave a comment, tell me how you're doing. I see that quite a few people are actually watching my videos, and every now and then I get a comment. But I really do hope you're having a good time. As someone who spent a lot of time in misery and still struggling with depression, one of the things that makes me feel really good is when other people are doing good. Because if I can't have happiness, I really hope other people have it for themselves. And it's just how it is. So, anyways, I'm still working out. I'm really excited. I've sort of plateaued. I admit that. I've been hovering at the same weight for the past 2 weeks, so I'm thinking of decreasing the amount of food I'm consuming. I'll be honest with you. I was consuming a lot more protein that I probably should have at the moment. So I was eating a lot of like Quest bars and things like that as snacks. I don't really need that, so I'm gonna cut that out of my diet. I'm also going to increase yoga. I'm thinking of taking some hot yoga classes. Jiu-jitsu is amazing, but let's be honest, flexibility really does help. And even though I could bend over and touch my toes, which is really cool, my knee still bends slightly, so I need to work on that. I'm also thinking of introducing a little bit more cardio, riding my bike more often. Uh, that being said, even though I haven't lost much weight lately, I have gone down an entire pant size. So I was a size 38. I could actually slip into a size 36 and not feel like the button is gonna burst or have a bunch of my excess stomach droop out of my waistband. So that's really cool. I'm getting more and more comfortable talking into the microphone, but I'm still taking those long pauses and breathing in deeply like I'm doing something scary. But it's okay. And again, I wish you guys are having a great day. It's Sunday. I try to make every day count. I, back in 2013, I used to be able to flex and see a 4 pack. Now I flex and see excess body fat. Huh. That so what I'm trying to say is that with the days I have now, and I'm not dying or anything, but the time now that I'm aware of the time I have, and now that I'm able to do something, I try to make all these days count for something bigger. So I started another business, and that's going pretty good. I'm really cautious about going into further buying more ad space, but it's going fine. It's going great. I started another business. I decided to write a book of poetry, which I referenced in one of the other videos on, or I think it's on my one of my bio or whatever, and that's ready to go. I'm thinking of self publishing. I found an editor she loved. Yeah, I think she loved most of them. And what I mean by most of them, there's one poem where she was like, about that. But I decided to keep it because I enjoyed writing it and I wanted to share with you guys. And of course, I'm obviously gonna make it free anyway. So you know, but I love doing that. So I'm gonna do that. I had a dream, a little goal I was racing back then before my car crash, and that was to make movies. It was going well up until I got hit by a car, in which case it all died. Now it's 2019. I figured, you know what? Let's start again. Last time I was right there. I was on movie sets. I was working. I was making connections. Editors were inviting me to edit videos and movies with them. I was right there. If I could do it back then, and back then I was stupider and had less of everything, I can definitely do it now. So I'm pushing for that. And back to the body stuff, the workout, the weight loss. If I can get to 190 and looking pretty cut, I can do that again. Just consistency and dedication. Oh boy, I am having some terrible heartburn. I switched oatmeals. Woo! Would not think of that. Anyways, I've been reading the newspaper lately. As you guys obviously know, since I can't game for a moment. I tried gaming. I tried playing Batman Arkham Knight. Man, so much button mashing in my hand. Just could not take it. So I'll see what happens. But anyways, I came across this article. A transgender woman testifies at Human Rights Tribunal after being refused Brazilian wax from the CBC. Written by Eva Eugene Senji. I'm really sorry if I messed up your name. I'm not trying to do it on purpose. I really am sorry. I'm not trying to put you on blast or trying to make fun of you. That one's a tough one for me. Anyways, this one hit a little close to home because I honestly do believe that if you're a worker, to an extent, if you don't feel comfortable doing something, especially if you don't feel qualified to do it, you should not have to do it. Obviously, this isn't the same way of thinking everywhere, and I always entertain the idea that I'm potentially wrong or that I am very, very wrong, and someone should correct me. So please do, if you see things differently, maybe sometimes workers should do things they're not comfortable with. It's up to you. But I've seen this from my personal experience and the experience of others. I worked some very nasty jobs, and let me tell you, there was times where employers would take advantage of some of these employees and make them do dangerous things they weren't qualified to do, and the employee would do it because they were desperate for cash or they felt trapped, and along doing so they would get hurt, and it's just, in my opinion, it just wasn't worth it. Anyways, let's see what's going on here. And this is the person. It's a news article. I'm trying to get better at censoring stuff. I'm still trying to figure that out. But since the newspaper published this, and I'm pretty sure they get more than 6 subscribers, uh, there's not much I can do. So let's see. A transgender woman testified before the BC Human Rights Tribunal Friday, complaining that she was refused Brazilian waxes at more than a dozen beauty salons because she is transgender. Okay, I'm from America. Whenever I hear somebody suing multiple businesses that are very similar in service, I always get a little like, okay, what's going on here? I did a lot of poking around, and I found out that this person apparently is referred to as a transgender activist in a few places, so that wouldn't surprise me. At the same time, people shouldn't deny you services because of your gender. However, that also goes both ways. A business shouldn't be forced to do something if they don't feel comfortable doing it. But again, there's more. And like I said, I'm most like, if I'm wrong, please tell me. I'm really open to discussion. I really am. I'm basically a 28-year-old guy, turning 29 this year. Sat down, did the math. Who's living the life that he wished he would have when he was a teenager. I'm not married. I don't have kids. I'm not dating. All I do is go to jiu-jitsu, play. Well, I used to play a lot of video games, ride my bike, and go to the movies. So I have a lot of time for discussion, and I'm very fortunate enough that I was able to make quite a bit of money before any of this, so I could just chill, spend time researching and responding. But anyways, let's see what else they got here. Jessica Yaniv says she's been repeatedly refused waxing services since 2008. For the past several months, the tribunal has been conducting hearings into the complaints against each of the waxing salons and the independent estheticians. None of the providers had any issue with anything until I mentioned I was transgender. Why was it not brought up saying, "Hey, we don't do services on male genitalia"? Again, and that's a good point. They should have said, "Hey, look, we don't do services on male genitals." But at the same time, what if they didn't know this person had male genitals? What if they assumed, okay, this is a lady, this is a woman, but let's see what else we got here. See, this is the annoying part. This is the annoying part. It's like me going into a jiu-jitsu studio. 'Cause I do nogi, so I don't wear the karate outfit that you guys may be familiar with, and then just rolling with the white belts and like slaughtering them, and then I'll go, well, you guys didn't tell me I should. It's like you're purposely omitting information when it comes to these things. They're waxing. You should be, hey, by the way, are you comfortable with the fact that I'm a male? I went to get a pedicure once with one of my friends. The Asian lady who was doing my nose, I literally asked her, hey, are you comfortable with working with a guy's feet? And she goes, yeah, I'm comfortable with that. It only makes sense to me because at the end of the day, the employee has to be able to consent to the work that they are doing. If not, then it's just that much closer to slave labor. But again, if I'm wrong, please tell me, and I'll think about what you have to say and readdress your points. So here we go. Yaniv, who identifies as female but has male genitalia, contacted the businesses through Facebook message requesting to book an appointment for waxing services, including a Brazilian wax which removes most or all pubic hair. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've heard the word words Brazilian wax so many times. I still don't fully know what it is. I always assumed they removed all pubic hair, but I guess not. Anyways, she says many estheticians advertise themselves as offering arm, leg, and pubic hair waxing for either male or female customers. Okay. However, when Yaniv inforced him that she was transgender, she says she was suddenly refused appointments outright, or that the esthetician made excuses for no longer being able to perform the services. In response to the complaint against him, several estheticians had claimed to lack the training required for waxing male genitals, or that they are not comfortable doing so for religious or personal reasons. I'm gonna start off with this right here. Come on. Nope. Let's start off with the S then. One, I didn't know this required training. Like most things, when it comes to like uh, nails, hair, I didn't know it required training. But the thing is, in at least the lady who cuts my hair, she actually has a license. She had to take a test with the state so she could be able to cut and dye hair. So obviously requires some sort of study and training. Waxing again, maybe I'm wrong, but it sounds like you just pour hot wax in somebody's body and you just go slip, you tear it off, or some sort of wax. I think that should definitely require some training, because what if you tear off a chunk of skin, or what if you leave some sort of rash that develops to some kind of skin infection? That makes sense to me. If you don't have the right ability, the right training, then you shouldn't be doing something. I agree with them on this point. To me, that's a pretty valid point. At the same time, here we go. They are not comfortable doing so for religious or personal reasons. If you want to live in an open society, you have to acknowledge the fact that there's a lot of religions that are not very, I should say, people friendly. That are not very different people friendly. There's a lot of religions who condemn such uh, transgender people. There's a lot of religions that condemn homosexuality, so on and so forth. And I don't agree with it. But if you want to live in an open society, you have to be willing to accept those things, or you have to at least be willing to live amongst them and tolerate them. That's the funny thing about tolerance. You tolerate somebody that smells bad. You don't really like it. Same thing with the somebody's religious reasons. You tolerate their reasons. You don't have to like it. You don't have to participate in it, but you gotta at least put a tolerate the fact that somebody's gonna say, no, I'm not gonna bear. I'm not gonna make you a wedding cake because I'm Christian or because I'm Muslim. I was watching some videos on YouTube of people going into either Islamic bakeries or Christian bakeries and demanding cakes, and they were like, we're not gonna do it because of religious purposes. And then this one, personal reasons. What if some of these women were sexually assaulted and they just don't want to deal with that? What if some of these women feel very conscious of what they're doing? What if some of these women feel that this person who may just be trying to do something bad? You have to be open to all these things. You just can't assume malicious intent. Maybe a few of these women growing up, something happened to them. Or maybe they just say, you know what, I'm just not comfortable handling male genitalia. And that's okay. That's okay. It's so weird saying it out loud. Or maybe some of them just like, I just don't want to do that. And that's okay too, because like I said, if you're working somewhere, you should at least have the right to consent to the kind of work that you're doing. Because if you don't, that's just one step closer to slavery. If you're just forced to work, that's just one step closer to slavery. Let's see what else we got going on here. Yaniv withdrew a previous complaint against laser cuts and was ordered by the tribunal to pay legal costs of $150. See, that's what I'm saying. I'm not sure if I already mentioned this, but I'm from America, okay? And I read another article, and so we can just touch on this point right now, and then we'll touch on it. Blah, blah, blah. Look at it again later. If she's going back, and where's that number? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, so if she's going around, and we'll try to find the number, and requesting just endless amounts of just asking, like, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? Okay, I'm from America. We joke around, at least in my area, that if you want to make a quick buck, just go slip in a store and sue them, and they'll pay you off, so you don't have to go to court. And you just do that to different stores. You know, if she's doing that to every single waxing place, either she's trying to send a message or she genuinely wants to get waxed. But if she really wants to get waxed, she could always do it by herself. You know, get the proper training, go through all the loophole, blah, 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 go through all the hoops and whatnot. But there's just something doesn't sit right with me when I read this. Anyways, here we go. Religion and lack of training. Earlier this month, the Calgary-based Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms represented three British Columbian citizens before the Human Rights Tribunal. We do not believe that it's a human right to be able to compel a woman to wax male genitalia. Exactly. Oh my God! Why is it so hard for me to express myself through this medium? But yes, there you go. She shouldn't have to do that. At the same time, if it was a he waxing, she should not have to do that either. It's not worth it. I'm gonna have to pull up the British whatever human rights laws and to look at that later. But that's it's if they don't want to do it because they're not comfortable with doing it, that's okay. That's okay. That's part of tolerance. In jiu-jitsu, every now and then well, right now there's a young lady that rolls with us and she's really cool. She's really good. She's tough as nails, man. She's tough. She's tough. But there's another young lady that only rolls with the girls, and that's okay because she's only comfortable rolling with the girls. That means wrestling, you know. She only wrestles with the girls. So girl A, she doesn't care. She'll mess you up, you know. If you're a dude, she'll jump in there. She doesn't care if you're 6'7", 300 pounds. A little old me who's 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", depending on the weather, because of the car crash. Get it? Weighing in. Luckily, right now I'm at 220. I gotta weigh myself again. She does not care. She'll jump in there and just, man, Wolverine you, dude. Wolverine you, dude. She's Wolverine, man. She doesn't care. Girl B only wrestles with girls, and that's okay. And no one bothers her about it. They respect that. You know, are we gonna go to the human rights room and be like, hey, that woman has to press her body against mine and roll around the floor for 5 minutes at a time? No, of course not, because it's nonsense. She has a right to decide who she wants to wrestle with. Same thing here. I honestly believe that these estheticians, these women shavers, these lady waxers, which I'm assuming they're all women, I don't care. They probably all are. They shouldn't be forced to wax a male genital, and they shouldn't be compelled by government to do so. Let's see what else we got. On its website, the center states that one of its clients, Sandeep Banipal, I am so sorry, Sandeep, I am so sorry, is not trained to wax male genitals, and that Blue Heaven Beauty Lounge, the business she owns, does not advertise male genital waxing. I understand transgender is a very hot topic, uh, but you can't look down and say, "Oh, my penis identifies as a vagina." That's just biologically wrong. You know, you have to acknowledge the fact that you have male genitals. I used to hang out with this young lady who was a young lady at the Young Man at the time, and I remember. I guess she always was a young lady, just born in the wrong body, and she had got her top. She told me that her top was fixed, and I was so happy for her. I was like, "Yeah, you got boobs, woo!" And then she told me that in a couple of months she was gonna get her bottom fixed. And I'm like, yeah, you do you, kid. You do you. I don't know your name. We've been hanging out for 6 months because of school, and I still don't know your name. I'm so sorry. And I never knew his or her name. Her name. And I remember this person telling me that they couldn't wait to have female genitals, so they could feel like a complete woman. That was their thing. That I don't know how other people perceive their bodies, but that was their thing. And you know what? I understood what it means to feel to feel like you were in the wrong body. I really did. You know, this was around my car crash time, so I myself was limping around, having panic attacks because of the brain trauma. I was waking up, chewing into my tongue, drooling on my bed, shaking. Uh, it was a tough time, and when she said that, I was like, because she wanted to be in what she felt was the right body, and I was like, I get you because right now I feel like I'm stuck in this broken body, and this isn't me. And but point is that this person, again, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm looking at one person's experience and putting using as an umbrella term. But they never confuse their genitals for female genitals. They don't look at their penis and go, "This is a vagina." This is absurd. At this point, if this place says, "Look, we don't advertise male genital waxing," just because you're transgender, you can't say, "Hey, look, this penis identifies as a vagina." That's not how it works. At the end of the day, you still have to look at biology, and it's really unfortunate that you're in this situation. But hey, come on. Let's see. Suki Hehar Gil. Again, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I'm really trying with the names, guys. I really am. People still get my name wrong too, and it is what it is. I mean, how do you not pronounce banjo? I'm just kidding. But yeah, people mess up my name. Go figure. It's a really simple name too. An esthetician, also represented by the Justice Center, is a practicing Sikh and claims this prevents her from traveling to a biological male's house for house calls. Back to a tolerant society. Some people are not gonna be okay with this, and because of religious reasons, and you have to be accepting of that. If you want to live in a free society, you have to be accepting the things that do not agree with you. That's the whole concept of tolerance. Let's keep going. The public. I'm not sure if you guys can hear this, but in the background, my dad loves listening to all these communist socialist lectures from south of the border. And it's really funny because I grew up listening to them too, and it's just so exciting. But I could hear them in the background. Uh, I thought about moving away. I'll be honest with you guys. I've never moved away. I've spent a lot of time in other countries, but I've never moved away. Anyways, I could hear my dad in the background just listening to that. So the other day I was thinking about moving out, and the first thing I saw was like, I'm gonna miss listening to that. But anyways, so here's something a little more important than just my living situation. So let's see. The public hearing attracted attention Friday with about 30 individuals attending the proceedings and gathering outside. Some were there to support Yaniv, while others demonstrated support for the petition, many of whom are women of color. I, as a man of color, don't support people just because they are people of color. That makes no sense to me. It's tribal thinking, and I don't agree with it. Just because you look like me doesn't mean you are like me or you think like me. I don't like that. I don't like the diversity. I hate the fact that there's been times where the only reason people wanted me there was because of my skin color. I call it the plantation mentality, where they're just trying to show how many, quote unquote colored people they have. I hate that. I don't like that. But if I were to be there, I would be supporting the estheticians because I do believe they have the right to refuse service to anyone, even if they don't have a pretty good reason for it. Don't believe in the hype. Trans activism is misogyny. Don't know what's going on there. Might look into it later. Let's see. In May 2019 decision, the tribunal members adjudicating the hearing says she was troubled that some of Jay White's comments made within the proceeding online suggest that she holds stereotypical negative views about immigrants to Canada. Okay, that's just making things worse. Yaniv is seeking financial remedies of $25,000 from at least one corporate salon, and $7,500 from an independent esthetician. She also wants BC Human Rights Tribunal to issue a statement declaring refusal of waxing services to be discriminatory and prohibited. I don't agree with that because I don't think the government should be able to compel you to wax somebody's genitals or to do something you don't want to do. They should not compel you. You're not a criminal. They can't force you to do something, especially if you're not comfortable with it, especially if it violates your religious or your personal views. They should just not do that. At the same time, I understand that Yaniv is in a pretty tough position. They probably want to live life as a woman. They want to get waxed as a woman, but I just can't see government forcing people to do that. That eventually becomes tyranny. Let's see what else we got. It's not about the service at all, said Yaniv after hearing the hearing concluded on Friday. When you start discriminating against certain service elements and certain protected classes, that's when we really have an issue. The tribunal says it will have a decision on the case within 3 months. See, that's what I was afraid of, because it really feels like Yaniv is trying to send the message more than they actually just want to be a participant in this activity. Back to my jiu-jitsu example. So, jiu-jitsu lady A, who just throws it down with anyone and just will murk you, dude. She is tough. Wolverine. She has consented to rolling with whoever wants to roll with her. On the other hand, jiu-jitsu lady B just sticks to the girl. And that's okay. I'm not going to go up and complain, hey, how come she doesn't roll with me? I want her to roll with me. That's just absurd. And then I can't also say, by the way, I identify as a woman. That's also absurd. You know, there's something that the person working, if they are forced to work because the government tells them in this scenario, I honestly believe that's just one step closer to tyranny, and that's really saddening. So here I found a few more articles I want to share with you guys. Here's another one. The Christian Perspective. I honestly thought it was a Canada Business News, but I guess Christian Perspective. Let's see. Woman forced to close business after refusing to wax genitals of trans person. Others could be next. I I like this picture. I think it's really nice. Although I don't, yeah, they probably would have been better off having a picture of who's involved. But I just like how the nails really do match the lipstick. But anyway, I'm really into. Anyways, I'm really into imagery. Okay, I love pictures. I love going to museums and staring at portraits. It's just something about the colors really catches my attention. It's probably really really good for my ADD. But anyways, a Brazilian immigrant to Canada has been forced to shut down her body waxing business after she refused to wax the male genitals of a transgender activist. And see, that's what I was afraid of. Activism is great, but make sure that your activism doesn't start oppressing other people or forcing people to do things they don't want to do. I've always assumed that activism was about freedom and access, not saying, hey, by the way, I have male genitals. You gotta wax them. Wax my male genitals. Well, I don't want to wax your male genitals. Well, you gotta do it, or else I'm gonna shut you down. But I don't want to do it. I'm gonna shut you down. Okay, shut me down because I don't want to. So let's see. Jessica Yaniv, formerly known as Jonathan Yaniv, is a biological male who identifies as a woman. The Post Millennial reports Yaniv filed a complaint with the British Columbia Human Rights Tribunal last year after Marcia da Silva refused to wax him. Yaniv argued that the mother of two discriminated against him on the basis of sex, and he is now demanding financial restitution. This isn't sitting well with me because the more I read, the more I run into the story, the more it feels like this person is just trying to either get money or attention. And that's a damn shame because let me tell you something. There are some real issues, real transgender issues out there, discrimination, violence, addiction, you name it, that need to be addressed. But stuff like this just divides people even further, which is really, really unfortunate. De Silva, who operates her own business out of her home, says she refused to serve Yaniv due to safety concerns and alleged harassment from him, not because he is transgender. This whole portion of the sentence, safety concern and alleged harassment from him, not because it's transgender, really, really shines a whole new light into the problem. Hey, are you really into this because you're transgender and because you want to be waxed? Or are you just looking for an issue to take up on? Are you looking for a mantle? De Silva told Tribunal during last week's proceedings that the ordeal has forced her to shut down her business and it's no longer a source of income for her family. That is sad. 16 of the victims. She isn't the only one who has been targeted by Yaniv. The transgender activist also filed a complaint against 15 other British Columbia statisticians for refusing to wax his genitalia. According to Jay Cameron, an attorney from the Justice Centre, I gotta look this word up, for constitutional freedom, most of the women are low-income immigrants. On the previous article, we find out that Yaniv has made some very negative comments against immigrants. Again, this is not looking good for Yaniv on just a human level. Like, are you specifically targeting these women because they're immigrants, or are you just trying to shut them down? Are you trying to use what potentially is a movement that really does need help to push forward your BS? Or what's going on here? Some of my clients have been very significantly affected on a personal level. Another client also closed her business. She has been depressed, anxious, sleepless, and that has gone on for a period of many, many months, Cameron said. It is a very serious thing to launch a human rights complaint against a person. My clients are people. They have a right to make a living, and this has interfered with their livelihood, but also you have the stigma of being associated with this hanging over you. There was a time whenever I would hear the word racist or somebody accused of racism, I'd be like, whoa, this person might just be a racist. Nowadays, whenever I hear the word racist, transphobic, or any of that stuff, I just assume this person said something reasonable. Or this person was misunderstood or is poorly represented. Unfortunately, these words have been thrown around so much that they mean nothing. They just mean nothing now. And the thing is that every Sunday I go out there and I'll just fill up a backpack with socks and I'll hand them out to homeless people. If that's a crime, then so be it. But man, I've heard some nasty, nasty comments from humans, and I just be like, "Whoa, this guy's a real racist." Be it a racist against a white man, racist against a black man, racist against a brown man, so on and so forth. When you get these words thrown around, they just mean nothing. These women shouldn't be forced to wax male genitals, no matter if they're on a man or a transgender woman or whatever. But again, that's what happened. Yeah, it's so frustrating reading the news sometimes. Let's see. Yaniv told the tribunal that business owners cannot choose who they serve. Yes, they can. They can choose who they serve because guess what? They are people, and people should have a right to decide what they do and do not want to do. They are not slaves to you. They are offering a service, and the same way you get to decide who does that service for you, that person gets to decide who they do that service for. You just can't force them. Back to my jiu-jitsu example. Uh, Jiu-Jitsu Lady A, she can roll with whoever she wants. At the same time, she doesn't have to roll with any of these guys because she has the right to refuse who she doesn't. She has the right to consent. Same thing with Jiu-Jitsu Lady B. She can say, I don't want to roll with anyone except this girl because she has the right to consent. You cannot choose who your clientele is going to be. Yes, you can. Yes, you can choose who your clientele is going to be. He said, claiming that the Silva decision not to wax him is a form of neo-Nazism. Again, that's a whole nother pack of crap. These days, whatever it's in them for, I have to admit this as a liberal myself. Somebody who agrees with a lot of liberal thought and opinion. It seems that nowadays the word neo-Nazi means nothing. Neo-Nazi is just somebody that didn't agree with a white liberal. That's what it means. I, as a colored man, whenever I suggest that, hey, maybe taxation should be looked at or examined further, I don't even suggest cutting taxes, just looked at. I've actually been accused of being a neo-Nazi, and it's really funny because they did that once in front of a few friends, and they all just kind of froze and looked at the person who did it. And it's always said, in my experience, this is always thrown around by white liberals. So I don't know what's going on there, but the word neo-Nazi means nothing now. The word Nazi means nothing. When I was in grad school, I was writing papers on genocide, and I would come across obviously you come across the Nazi movement, the National Socialist movement in Germany, and what happened there. And there was so much weight to that word and what it actually meant. Nowadays, it just means nothing. The Silva's most likely a Brazilian woman. No, she is from Brazil, a Brazilian immigrant who looks like a Hispanic female. Figure that one out. This is not about waxing. This is about businesses and individuals using their religion and culture to refuse services to protect the groups because they don't agree with it or the person, and use that to illegally discriminate contrary to the BC Human Rights Code and the CHRC. Yaniv later tweeted, okay, that's fine. I enjoy listening to Yaniv's opinion. I still disagree with it. And that's okay to disagree. We can disagree. It's okay. I'm not erasing who she is as a person. And I think I refer to Yaniv as a she more than this article has. That's fine. You don't have to agree with it. But look, at the end of the day, if you want to live in a tolerant society, you have to be tolerant of the fact that some people may not want to do certain services. Women are not going to be comfortable. At least these women were not comfortable waxing male genitalia. And that's okay. The same way that one time I was in jiu-jitsu and I asked one of the girls, like, since I didn't have a partner, she was chilling, if she wanted to roll, she goes, I don't really like to roll with guys. Well, that's okay. She didn't violate my human rights. She didn't erase my identity. She just wasn't comfortable. On the other hand, I've said that to a few people too. Hey, I'm not comfortable rolling right now with you. So, it is what it is. It just seems like activism. We want the attention. We want the money. We want to just break something. And it's so unfortunate. See, Twitter ban. Yaniv's case has also had permanent consequences for at least one of the other women. Canada free speech activist Lindsay Shepherd was permanently suspended from Twitter. She confronted Yaniv about his actions online. Shepherd claimed Yaniv was making vulgar and disparaging comments about her body on Twitter. I replied saying that if he's trying to sound like a woman, this is not the way to do it, as he sounds more like a man who doesn't have a functional relationship. Ouch. And I think this is just a whole different thing. One proud lesbian, I'll never give up fighting for human rights equality. Let's see what else we got here. And there's a GoFundMe going on. And one more. The Guardian. It's not a hate crime for a woman to feel uncomfortable waxing male genitalia. Why is this not obvious? Why is this not obvious? This should be freaking obvious from day one. Arwa, I'm so sorry, Arwa. I just want to say, if this is who you are, Arwa, you look like an absolutely beautiful, wonderful human being. Okay, I'm just gonna butcher your name, and I'm not doing it on purpose to be funny. I'm just, Arwa Madawi. I hopefully got that right. If not, I'm very sorry, and I hope you have a great Sunday. 16. Let's see, Saturday 27th. Is today the 27th? Oh snap! Wait, is today the 27th? What's today? What's today? What's today? Come on, phone. Today's the 28th. Oh, Saturday the 20th. Oh my god, I am so blind. I'm gonna go watch a movie today. I'm very fortunate that I worked very hard and I can go watch a movie whenever I want. So today I'm gonna go watch a movie, and as for a second there, I thought I missed it. Anyways, 16 complaints filed by Canada's trans women make a mockery of hate crimes committed against trans people every day. Let's see. Jessica Yaniv and the waxing wars. Should a woman be forced to wax male genitalia? And I think this is an op-ed, is it? Yeah, opinion. This is an opinion. Okay. So this is an opinion. It's not a news article. I'll be honest with you. The other ones felt like opinions too. But these days you can't tell the difference between news and opinion because it seems like most people don't care about facts. They just care about how it makes them feel. And if you get people angry enough, they click, which is really unfortunate. Because there's a lot of cool things that you can report on. But no, you just want the clicks. The answer is so. Should a woman be forced to wax male genitalia? The answer to the question is certainly no, right? If a female beautician has only been trained to wax female genitalia and only wants to offer these services to women, then that should be her prerogative. I love that word. But hang on a minute. What if the person who wants their intimate area to be waxed is a woman with male genitalia? Guess what? They still have male genitalia. What happens then? A court in Canada has been trying to figure that out. British Columbia Human Rights Tribunal has been holding hearings on the issue after Jessica Yaniv, a transgender woman, filed 16 complaints against female estheticians, arguing that she was denied services because of her transgender identity. This is not about waxing. At this point, I think you're just trying to send a message. While the Yaniv case has been going on for a while now, you may not have heard of it. It has largely been covered by right-wing press. Again, I don't know what that means anymore. Words like right-wing, Nazis, liberals, patriotism. Apparently, it means xenophobia now. My father's not from this country, but he's the most patriotic man I've met. I'm serious. Just about every T-shirt he has an American flag on it. Whenever we go out, we went bowling yesterday. The only person there with an American flag on his shirt was him. American flag hat, you name it. He loves America. And he's from a country where America basically wiped away their democratically elected government and imposed essentially a tyranny, And he loves his country. So I'm just so disappointing how we just throw words around and they mean nothing. The word hate. Anyways. The sort of outlets normally joke about consent and women's rights are now outraged that women are being forced to handle male genitalia against their will. Well, you put it right there. Normally joke about consent and women's rights. If it's a joke, then the joke, especially when it's a really vulgar joke, the joke isn't so much the topic, but the person making the joke. Sarah Silverman has some pretty interesting jokes that you should look into. So did Patrice O'Neill. So if they're just joking, then obviously not being serious about it. You may not like what they're joking about, but it's still a joke at the end of the day. I don't think most comedians are funny. Let's see, against their will. The sort of writers that are normally whipping up hate against immigrants are now outraged and concerned. I wish they could show example of what this means. Because I could do that, like, hey, those St. Jude's Children's Hospital, the same knuckleheads who are doing that. I could just make stuff up. So I wish they would provide examples. But let's see. Are now outraged and concerned that at least one of the beauticians that Yaniv has filed a complaint against as a poor immigrant. In short, there has been a hell of a lot of bad faith and transphobia involved in reporting about this case. A number of world's worst people have used the story as an example of political correctness gone mad and as a way to stoke hatred against trans people. Again, I wish this person could provide more examples of this. Here's why I'm not a big fan of opinion, because all this is opinion, there's no fact to it. So I'm just supposed to accept this as a matter of faith. But let's see. But does that mean that Yaniv is a brave crusader for human rights who should be supported? Absolutely not. Yaniv seems to be a troll, not an activist. What did I say? I would still like them to show some sort of chart, but okay. She also has made a number of racist comments about immigrants, saying that they aren't the cleanest people. Let's see what we got here. Load. Canada's ball waxing horror shows its peak transgender activism. Feminist non-fiction in your latest books, and while my balls wax. What was the quote that they used? Cleanest of people, Control C. No. We have a lot of immigrants here who gawk, judge, and aren't the cleanest of people. They're also verbally and physically abusive. That's one reason I joined a girls' gym, because I don't want issues with these people. They lie about poop. They'll do anything to support their own kind and make things miserable for everyone else. Yaniv, you're kind of doing that for other people too, man. Come on. Come on. Okay, see, but this is what I'm talking about. So these little comments, right, like these little hyperlinks, should also be here so we can see what your references that you're making. And allegedly said to be said very disturbing things about underage girls. Oh, Yaniv, you are not looking good anymore. Not that you did to begin with. Exclusive 15 alleged victim of Yaniv speaks out. I'm actually going to do a whole little podcast on this one. Jessica Rampul at Hyper Jesser. That's a pretty cool, catchy handle. The young woman who Jay Yaniv engaged in inappropriate sexual behavior with when she was between the ages of 14 and 15 has confirmed that she has filed a child exploitation report against Yaniv with CyberTip. Let's see. Ooh, we might... oh, nope. We're going to do a little podcast on this one because this is taking way too long now. That is absurd, Yaniv. Yaniv also needs to have tried to book the waxing services with fake Facebook profiles. The Spectator reports, Yaniv, what were you thinking? So the transgender person, the story I was sharing about, one day they come up. I was feeling low, really low. Had my face buried in my hands, and she comes up to me. She says, everything's gonna be okay, kiddo. She didn't say kiddo. She said my name. And then she goes, a handsome man like you shouldn't be sad. I felt good when she said that. In my experience, I have yet to meet a terrible, terrible transgender person. And I think I just came across when I dropped my lighter. Yaniv scandals. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we're just going to look into this later. Let's see. Long story short, Long and short of the story is that Yaniv does not seem to be acting in good faith. And a lot of women who are running small businesses out of their homes are now being dragged into court. No, did I break my lighter? Oh, thank God I didn't. And branded as bigots as a result. If those women had refused to wax Yaniv's legs because they had a problem with her being trans, they would have been absolutely right to take action. However, seriously, things are more nuanced when it comes to handling genitals. You know what? We're going to just look into this we're just going to look into this much, much later. Because I'm done with Yaniv. This is very disappointing. And it's the most heartbreaking part is that potentially it seems like the government can force women to wax male genitals when they don't want to. And I'm for human rights. I don't distinguish between men or women. I mean, my dad used to say they're all the same poop to him. He would say it much more kindly. I don't distinguish between men or women. To an extent, I understand there's biological differences. There's psychological, so on. There's actual measurable differences. But at the end of the day, when it comes to rights, I think we should all be able to go to the same dojo and chill. But there's pieces of poop like this that just seem to be more intent in doing awful things and taking advantage of movements that could potentially do a lot of good than they are in actually caring for other human beings. But hey, I'll catch you guys later. This has gone on too long. We're going to look into Yaniv's need to exploit preteen girls, apparently. I may be wrong saying that. Later. Right now, I got to go catch a movie. So take it easy, guys. Love you. Peace out.